Unacceptable. This is unbelievable. 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 Unacceptable.
Hey, welcome to Wil and Dave Show Black Friday edition. I am George Atatuquengo, that is Dave Johnson, and over there is good friend Will Vincent. Over to you, Dave.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the Wil and Dave Show podcast. Glad you could be with us. If you feel like interacting with us on the Twitter, you can reach us at Wil and Dave Show or on Facebook.com/WilAndDave. And always, we love the hashtag WilAndDave. Please reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you guys. I'm sure George Atatuquengo, our special guest, would love to hear from some of the tweeters, or whatever you want to call them. And Will hates Twitter and doesn't know how to use it, so he could give two shits about it, right, Will?
Bullshit. Follow us at Wil and Dave Show on Facebook, facebook.com/Wil and Dave. Links are at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen if you're watching on YouTube. If, of course, you are listening to this on iTunes, on the ETV Motorsports Network, then hopefully you wrote it down. Anyway, Dave, it's Black Friday, so happy holidays and all that bullshit to you, and to Randy, who's listening to us in the background. Black Friday, Thanksgiving, it's been and done. Turkey, you stuffed?
Yeah, like I said last week, turkey hangover in full effect. I pushed myself to my limit moving a couch into the house this morning, so I survived. So I'm pretty proud of myself. How was Thanksgiving for you, Mr. Honorary American?
Well, it was alright, actually. You know, every year I do a random dish. This year was rather adventurous, shall we say. For those of you who are friends of me on Facebook, you kind of saw what I did. You haven't actually seen the photo of it yet, because I haven't posted it. But I decided that I was going to do a pie this year. So it's a turkey bacon blood pudding pie in a red wine reduction with caramelized onion, pecan, and camembert crumble stuffing topping, which I made myself some sweet potato and carrot lactus to go with it, because of course it wasn't just Thanksgiving, it was Thanks Hanukkah.
Oh yes, an event that will not happen again for another 77,000 years, so best take the time to celebrate properly.
Yeah, so...
Because I know you're a big fan of the monarchy.
Precisely, yeah. Although the fact that I'm using pork products in the pie then kind of, kind of went against the whole sweet potato and carrot lactus afterwards.
Yeah, you're not quite in the Hanukkah spirit with pig products, are you?
Not really, no, but let's be fair, I'm embracing multiple religious cultures all at once. So those who say that blokes can't multitask, bullshit. It happened. But I'm not sure if you've seen it on the news, but the Black Friday sales, the first year they've really come to England. Walmart, they own a supermarket over here called Asda, and they officially brought the Black Friday deals over to the UK for the first time, and a number of other retailers have taken part in that. And it's funny because you guys, as far as you hear about English people trying to get into sales, you normally think about people orderly waiting in queues and lines. It's like, okay, now the door's open. Don't panic. We can all get our chance to go and no, run, Margaret, run! You've got to get to them, otherwise, no, you've got to run fast. Get out of your Zimmer frame, get out of your wheelchair, run!
Throw down the Daily Mail and pick up that discounted vodka.
Yeah. Well, we had some pretty good deals. I think the best one I saw was 32-inch TV for the equivalent of about $160, which ain't bad.
Wow, that's really good.
But
is it a brand name you've ever heard of, though? That's the true test.
Well, it's Polaroid. Now, I know Polaroid. They do film, they do cameras.
Yeah, there we go.
But I've never heard of a Polaroid TV. But
they made good cameras once, so therefore the TV has to be good.
Do you have to shake the TV for 10 seconds, though, before it starts working?
Well, I hear it works better if you put it in the refrigerator before you use it.
Well, there we are. So that's the best Black Friday deal that I saw on that, of course. iRacing, $49 Black Friday. That's caused some interesting debate in itself. The people who... It's like, I'll only subscribe if it's $49 again. It's like, essentially, if you have all your payment credits and all of that sort of stuff, it works out to be what, $4 a year you're paying for iRacing?
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculously cheap if you pay up front and spread it out through a whole year. Uh, I mean, even at $100, it's still a great deal, and you get credits for racing. So if you race in, a B league and a D league for 12 weeks or 8 weeks out of 12, they'll give you $10. So over a course of a year,
unbelievable.
you can get $40. So if you, I mean, come on, the master. It's just people who don't want to buy anything unless it's quote a deal.
Well, yeah. And, I mean, even if you were to pay the $99, it then goes down to, my math is shit, what, $56 or something ridiculous like that? It's not that expensive, considering the fact as well, being Black Friday, it's the Steam sale as well. And I don't know about you, Dave, but as far as the Steam sale goes, I'm thinking, 1 second, it's all of a sudden...
Unbelievable, really unbelievable what you do.
And then... 5 minutes later, I spent $400 on random games. I played them once, and I never played them again.
Well, then you're the sucker for paying for it.
Yeah. Have you ever done that? Bought anything on the Steam sale that you've never played afterwards?
I've actually never bought anything on Steam.
Well, aren't you part of the minority?
iRacing's really the only thing that I play because I have so much money invested in it. I don't have time. My wife gives me enough hell for being on here, let alone if I'm playing Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto 5 or anything like that. Man, I'd be divorced in a hurry.
Well, how is the wife anyway?
Doing quite well. Still hates the show.
Well, shit happens.
I told her that you want to get her on the show to be interviewed. She said one of these days, if she is not at work, when the show goes live, she'll try to get on here and talk to you. And she referred to you and wanted me to say hello to you as William. I don't know why. I'm sure that probably pushes your buttons. So
it actually does. There are very few people who's allowed to call me William. Mainly people who I'm having sexual relations with. So I'd ask the wife to think twice before she says that. One person actually called me Wilton as well, and I kind of had to let her off.
Wilton?
You mentioned hell. I am going to move from one hell to another. And Interlagos is a great track. I'm not sure if you watched... Yeah. Did you watch the Brazilian Grand Prix?
Of course I did.
Good. Now, Interlagos... I
was really hoping it would have rained, by the way.
So was I. But the thing is, even without the rain, it was a great race. I mean, yes, Mr. Colonoscopy himself won again, stuck his finger into the air, blah-de-blah-de-blah. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but we had...
He just don't like the Germans.
I don't like the Germans, I just don't like him. We had a lot of overtaking, though. It was a good race up and down the field, and it wasn't a bore fest.
Agreed, it was a very good race. The track just lends itself to good competition. You look at the last several seasons, been very good races. Weather's always a factor, even though it didn't rain. The threat of it was just, kind of put people on edge. It kind of did
rain, just not that much.
It rained, but not enough. And I think the rain kind of put people on edge, and they thought, well, I got to push now because I can use up these tires, and I can just throw rain tires on, so I don't need to follow the rule of having to use both tire compounds. And then when it wasn't raining enough, and then at the end, you got some of the guys who hadn't run the hard tire yet, and guys are just pushing as hard as they can. Last race of the season, last race for some teams, last race maybe for some guys in Formula One period. So everybody just said to hell with it. I mean, look at Felipe Massa. He finished like 15th, and he was doing donuts just because he could. That's one, another Formula One rule breaker. Mark Webber's like, the hell with it. I'm taking my freaking helmet off and driving around.
I thought Formula One cockpits were tiny as hell. How the hell did he actually get his helmet in between his legs in a cockpit that small? I think what Webber's just taught Red Bull is they've got a little bit of room still to play with in that cockpit.
They probably do, but I guarantee you the FIA has regulated the size of the cockpit. Either that or Mark Webber had an extra small helmet.
I'm not even going to go down that route at all.
Well, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
True. But there's a couple of things here. Of course, next year the race is going to be even more interesting with the turbos. We'll talk fully about the 2014 regs a little bit later on. But the turbos will make the race
unbelievable.
even more unbelievable.
This is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. But we... back in the day, back in the 80s, when you had the normally aspirated engine and the turbo engines, it was actually one of the few races that the normally aspirated engines would be better because of the fact that the turbos would suffer so much from the turbo lag, all of that stuff. Next year, going to the turbo engines, I think that will level the playing field even more because of the fact it's so high up in the air. But I think what really Interlagos has taught us is that Herman Tilke needs to go on trial for crimes against racing humanity. Simple as that.
Now, I do agree with you that a lot of the Tilke tracks are just, really long straightaway, sharp corner, really long straightaway, sharp corner, throwing some curves left and right, just for the hell of it. But Circuit of the Americas was a Tilke track, and I have to say that was a pretty good layout.
How many attempts has it taken him to get one racetrack that's okay?
Well, you know what they say, Will, when you're a monopoly, the competition level doesn't force you to try very hard. So in Formula One, and Bernie Ecclestone keeps saying, hey, Tilke, just keep making tracks for us. He doesn't have to try that hard.
True.
The best tracks are the natural tracks, like Spa, Interlagos, Watkins Glen,
Montreal to
things
an extent.
like Montreal to extent, exactly. You have a certain box that you have to stay within, and you have to make the best of it. And those are some of the best tracks out there.
Yeah. And you could almost put the Australian Grand Prix venue at Albert Park into like this. I think that track has gotten better over the years because, people's gotten better to race at it. But, Montreal is always my favourite race of the year to watch. You have Interlagos, which, yes, it's not the same as what it is, but it's... still a really good track. You have other tracks on that list as well. You talked about Spa, for example. Even the Hungaroring, they've managed to make little changes to it, and it's become a lot better for racing. Then, on the Tilke side, you have Malaysia, Sepang. Very wide. If you make the track wide, then you're going to have people racing too wide the entire race, and the groove's still only one car wide. Then you have you had the things like Abu Dhabi, Bahrain. I can't even remember a decent race there, really. Turkey had the great turn 8, but the rest of the track was boring as hell, unless you got two Red Bulls running into each other. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Tilke, you suck. Come up with some fucking invention. Or, just do what the rest of us does when we design F1 tracks on the back of a cigarette packet or something. Use them. It's not going to be that hard. But, of course... we want to get rid of Herman Tilke, but there are a couple of people who, unfortunately, we are saying goodbye to in different capacities, really. You've got, on one hand, Mark Webber, which, I'm not going to lie to you, I actually, this is a little bit of stardom in some ways. I actually interviewed Mark Webber for our school newsletter back in 2004, back when he was driving for Jaguar Racing. Now, let's not forget, I grew up in Milton Keynes. He drove for Jaguar Racing, which is based in Milton Keynes, and he did our award ceremony, and I got to interview him.
Oh, very nice. How did that go?
Just as Mark Webber always is. He was just a natural, nice, down-to-earth character. And the thing is, as far as I'm aware, they've never had Seb in. They've never had anyone from Red Bull really do anything else. But he came out there on his own back, and it's like, hey, want to give something back to the community? Let's make something nice for the kids.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories out there about Mark Webber. Just, he happens to... he's a race car driver, but he's also... he's a nice guy first, and then happens to be a race car driver. And I know that I can say, just from personal experience with some IndyCar drivers, there's a lot of guys out there like that. And there's a few guys like Elio Castroneves who act, when the cameras are on, they're all, oh, I love my fans are everything. And then when you see them at the track, they couldn't give two shits about you and ignore the fans every chance they get unless they have big tits hanging out.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, you kind of hit the nail on the head on that one. Of course, he's not leaving. He's going to sports car racing, but he's not going to be on everyone's TV sets. Although he is confirmed, I think, all going to be confirmed to run in Le Mans in 2015. Now, that did make me drool just a little bit.
I thought they were running this upcoming year.
I think it's 2015. I'm not sure.
The way they kept talking about it over here in the United States sound like they were running Le Mans this year, and they
yeah,
were
but
running
you're
the
in the
whole...
United States. When's the last time they actually got a news story correct?
Oh, come on now.
On one hand, you've got Fox. It's all the fucking immigrants' fault. All the fucking immigrants. Then you have NBC, which is, you know, let's be rather socialist about this. Everyone work together. We'll find ourselves a solution. It's not anyone's fault. It's a collective issue. Then you have CBS thinking, for fuck's sake, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Well, don't even get me started on the news media in the United States. They're all, you know, have their own agendas and promotions, and most of the time they, whatever the liberal factions want to do, they're going to be all over it.
Yeah,
So
of course
it makes Fox News seem like way extreme, but I think more people agree with Fox than care to admit or want to admit, because they don't want to get freaking their heads bashed in by a bunch of crazy people on Twitter or whatever.
Well, yeah, and let's not forget as well, you've
And
also got
political
CNN. You've got CNN, and if Ted Turner had his way, he'd just make it into CNN meets a reformed WCW with just hot people dancing around while reading the news, because that's the only way he's going to get any more ratings over there. So, there we are. We went off topic. We've taken 14 minutes to go off topic. This is what happens when I don't drink before the show.
Well, you know, we've had internal debates on which show was the best, and you know, episode 3 was pretty good, and you admittedly said that you didn't drink the alcohols as much. Now, not that there's anything wrong with binge drinking or anything like that, but when you've already had 6 Red Bull and vodkas before the show, you tend to fly off the handle a little bit.
A bit.
Just a little.
By the way,
Just
talking about
a little
flying
bit.
off the handle, Mr. Andrew King!
Andrew
Excuse
King!
me. I'm looking for a car that's been tricked out to look like an ice cream truck.
Oh,
Welcome, Mr. King!
happy
Evening
holidays
or
to
afternoon.
you as well.
I've been waiting to use that one for a while.
That's what he said.
Hey,
Okay.
we have Twitter interactions already.
Twitter?
All right.
Yeah, Twitter.
Wow.
Your favorite Texans, SJoy29, Sarah
Wow.
says that JPM, I'm assuming she means Juan Montoya, is a jackass, essentially she's saying, but at least he's consistent about it.
Well,
Your
yeah.
thoughts on that?
Well, this is the thing with JPM. He's always been a bit of a dick. He was a dick in kart. He was a dick in F1. He's been a dick in NASCAR. Of course, he couldn't get away with some of the stuff that he gets away with in NASCAR due to the fact that, you know, you have things called suspension arms and flying up into the air if you do that stuff. But he's been a bell. And in fact, one of the things I worry about JPM is how much of that NASCAR aggression he's going to bring back with him, because if he tries taking people out, that could be horrible to watch.
Well, he's always had that kind of, you know, aggression. And I believe years ago in Formula One, he was quoted as saying that, I think, did Michael Schumacher call him an animal for wanting to touch wheels or race real close or something like that?
I think so,
So-
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if in the first 2 or 3 races this season, Juan Montoya just puts a so-called bumper to somebody and just knocks them out of the way. What St. Pete, somebody's going to get in his way and he's going to be, I'm Juan Montoya, I won the Indy 500, I raced in NASCAR, bam!
Yep. Game over. Of course, on the flip side of that, give credit where credit is due. 2001 Interlagos, that Parson Schumacher, phenomenal. In his kart career, pretty good.
Yeah. I used to really like Montoya when they only called him Juan Montoya in kart, because he was aggressive and he was different and he just added a lot of excitement to kart. And then he went to Formula One, and then he started out really strong and then faded really fast, and you know he couldn't eat his Big Mac, so he was crabby. And
Well,
then
let's
it
be
came to
fair, he was in
NASCAR.
shit teams. I mean, Williams were continuing
Williams
their...
was on the downturn.
Well, to be fair, they'd been on their downturn for a couple of years. The BMW power helped him out for a couple of years, and then it was shit again. And also, for a while, let's not forget, Bridgestone were better than Michelin. And then when he went to McLaren, I can't remember that part of his career, except for the fact that he left early.
Yeah, you know, and he had flashes of brilliance in NASCAR, but he just just that smug, so-called European attitude he had. Just, I'm better than everybody else, and nobody really seemed to like the guy. And his course ran through in NASCAR, and now he's going back to IndyCar. I'm really interested to see what he's going to be able to do. He's with one of the best teams, so I think he'll do well. I kind of hope maybe he'll be a bit humbled, maybe a bit more mature in his older age. That jet black hair is a little gray now, so he can't be risking stuff as much as he wanted to. So I'm interested to see. And then I know in the autograph sessions in August when I go to Mid-Ohio, I'll find out if he's like Elio Castroneves or if he's like Mark Webber.
Well, he is a little bit like Elio, let's not forget. He kind of forgot to pay some tax.
Allegedly,
yeah. By the way, we have been asked if we're allowed to say big tit on YouTube. If you're listening to this on iTunes or NTV Motorsports Radio Network, then you know already this show is explicit. If you're listening on YouTube, this program may contain strong language. If you're under the age of 18 or are offended by strong language, then fuck off.
On that note, I'd like to give a shout out to Elliot Lindamood, who got off work early to come listen to the show, and he's also looking to see if Mark Webber's Porsche deal does include Le Mans in 2014. So when he checks with Radio Le Mans, he'll let us know.
Yeah, I don't know this stuff. I'm useless, to be fair. But we came up, by the way, Dave, with 5 things, and we haven't done this in any particular order. 5 things that we're thankful for, because Thanksgiving is all about giving thanks, even though I'm in English, and apparently I'm not allowed to give thanks, because I get my ass kicked. Every time I mention Thanksgiving in English, why do you celebrate Thanksgiving? You're not allowed to give any thanks to anyone. Fuck you.
They're just generations of pissed off people that Americans left England and came to America because we didn't want to deal with your shit anymore.
Well, yeah, and to be fair, we're in a kind of similar situation now, but this show isn't political, so I won't go into it. But 5 things we give thanks for. I think the first one on our list is Kevin Harvick. Because Kevin Harvick, he had that amazing rant at Mr. Dillon and the entire Richard Childress organization, and it was just perfect, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know Harvick did the politically correct thing and said that he wished he hadn't said that thing and, regrets that he made such a big deal out of it, but pretty sure that he said what most people are thinking. Now, Austin Dillon, I think he's going to prove it himself, winning truck races, championships, nationwide championships. Ty Dillon, maybe not so high up on the talent poll. Look at Pastor Maldonado. Everybody knows that guy's got a ride because he's got money. A lot of people think that the Dillons have rides because their grandpa's who he is. So, hey, Harvick never backs down from a fight, never shy about saying what's on his mind. And I'm thankful for that because he's my favorite driver, and I like him because he says what's on his mind, and he's not afraid to say it. And if Kyle Busch ever gets near him, I know he'd kick his ass. And
let's be fair, he's going into a team next year, which kind of likes that shit. Oh, yeah. Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart. You don't even talk about Danica because she's on her own little freaking planet. I was about to say, it's a sponsor's nightmare, and then Danica.
I'm fine. I'm just fucking pissed.
Danica should be a sponsor's nightmare, but they've been blinded by the
I was going to say tits,
machine.
But she's not really got that much in that department, has she?
They've been blinded by the marketing machine that is Danica Patrick. So for whatever reason, they keep supporting her even though she's around 30th every week. But, we got to give her a chance. She's still learning.
Well, the thing is, this year, actually, you think about it. Other drivers who's running outside the top 25, no airtime at all. Danica got as much airtime as guys who's running in the top 10. So
here's our Danica update. She's running 3 laps down, and Jimmy Johnson just passed her again to put her 4 laps down. Back to you, Mike.
Thanks, D-Dub.
Well, the thing is...
she invented... Look how smart she is. She took her hands off the wheel when she crashed. She invented that. Gee, golly.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the top of the downward spiral there for NASCAR and Fox, sponsored by the Danica Patrick Show. But I think... I don't know. As far as the publicity went, it was good for GoDaddy this year. It got people, remembering GoDaddy in NASCAR this year. But... the networks are going to start getting bored of her. The fans are already bored of her. There's only so many times you can flog that horse before it just turns around and says, no more. But
Yeah,
Isn't it obvious though that GoDaddy hates wins now?
well, yeah,
Yeah,
as
because
soon
he
as
got rid of
James
winning.
Hinchcliffe, gets, 2-3 wins in a season? Oh, yeah, let's just pull the sponsorship.
You know that media is desperate to make Danica relevant. When she wins the pole at the Daytona 500, the diecast company that makes NASCAR diecasts made a, quote, raced version of her pole-winning car. What, it had like 3
Right.
specks of sand on it? And,
Yeah.
and maybe like one of the wheels got rubbed slightly by a crew member, so let's make a
Wow.
diecast of it.
To be fair, it's as close as anything Danica's ever got to rubbing, but I'm really going low on her. I can't even say that because that now just has even more connotations. But
You are a cunning linguist.
go daddy. We don't sponsor winners. But we still give you low quality web space. By the way, GoDaddy's web space is shit. So there we are.
Yeah, because wasn't iRacing servers on a GoDaddy thing? Wasn't there a big outage?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, they blamed it squarely on GoDaddy.
Oops.
like
Other
GoDaddy
things that we're
actually
thankful
doing the-
for.
Is
Oh, yeah,
GoDaddy
number
actually
2,
doing
the
server
end-
hosting, or is it elsewhere?
I don't know.
Should we
Sorry.
continue with bashing GoDaddy, or should we go to number
No.
2 on the top?
We'll
No,
go
I
number
don't care.
2.
Or play some sound clips. I don't give a crap.
There we are.
At number 2.
The end of the 2014 Formula One. So 2013. End of the
I said
2013 Formula One season. Because let's be honest, Dave.
Because Will is tired of seeing Will. I almost said Will Vincent winning. Tired of seeing
Unbelievable.
Sebastian Vettel win.
It was a shit year. I mean,
It had so much promise at the beginning of the season. You had, Kimi Räikkönen winning the first race. You had Lewis Hamilton, Rosberg up there. The Red Bulls weren't necessarily starting up front and winning the races. And then all of a sudden, boom, they changed the tires after all those big blow-ups, and then Red Bull ran away with it.
well, a couple of issues there. I mean, I'll start at the beginning. Kimi winning, yeah, it was great. And, I think next year, Kimi, it really fascinates me to see how he'll get on at Ferrari and that explosive partnership with Fernando. You had how many races in a row that you had a Mercedes on pole position? It was great. And then you had that illegitimate test session, and then the Silverstone tyre failures. And you're right, from there. And the thing is, if it wasn't for the test sessions, if we had actually had the test sessions, then we wouldn't have had the tyre failures at Silverstone. And because Red Bull kicked up a fuss, then essentially Red Bull won the championship by a country mile. And I'm not going to lie, one thing that pisses me off with Red Bull, and this is not a Vettel bashing, this is a Red Bull bashing, this is Christian Horner. I understand pushing the extent of the regulations, but I think Red Bull consistently go beyond that, and their entire demeanor as a team, it is that win-at-all-cost mentality. And the last time we saw it, let's not forget, was Flavio Briatore, and we all know how that ended.
Yeah, but that's the nature of racing. Look at Benetton in the early, was it 94 when they outlawed traction control. Senna was just totally in belief that they were still running it and they couldn't figure out how. I mean, these guys are always doing secret things to get ahead of the regulations and get ahead of the next guy. So I can't necessarily lay all the blame at Red Bull for doing that. And you know what? God bless them. If they figured out a system that's undetectable and makes them better, well, that's just everybody else pissing in their own Cheerios because they can't figure it out.
True. One sec.
Better you play
Are
Mario
we allowed
Kart.
to say pissing on here, or is somebody going to get mad at us?
Well, we did get asked by someone under the age of
I'm
18.
fine. I'm just fucking pissed.
We did get asked by someone under the age of 18 if they can carry on listening. You need parental consent. So go and ask mummy and daddy if you can listen to people say the word fuck every so often.
But I'm here. I'm not allowed to listen?
Nope. Bye.
Don't ever give up.
So,
Well.
what's number 3? Number 3, we've got 5 things. That,
The DW12.
No. That's at the end. Number 3 has
Ugh.
got to be Andreas.
Andreas Stratman.
Because it really
This
has
is
been an
unbelievable
unbelievable
what
year.
is going on iRacing with IndyCar.
This guy is.
It's unbelievable, really unbelievable what you do. This is unbelievable what is going on iRacing with IndyCar. Watch on yourself. You have more. Better you play Mario Kart, and the better driver goes in front, not the lucky driver. The
You
better
couldn't drive a toothpick up a goat's ass with a 10-pound sledge.
How long? I was about to say, we finished?
For people who don't know who Andreas Stratmann is, he's from Germany. He's an iRacer who typically runs the IndyCar fixed setup series on iRacing. A very colorful character on iRacing. First to point out other people's faults, but sometimes has a few troubles of his own.
Well, yeah. But let's be honest, the comedic value, and I'm not going to say anything bad about Andreas' driving. It's not my place to do so because I don't race and therefore I'm not allowed an opinion. However, the comedic value is just fucking hilarious.
Yes,
Oh,
from
yeah.
a spectator standpoint, and even in a race standpoint, as frustrating it is sometimes to race against them, it's awesome and it's a breath of fresh air because it's somebody who you know cares about what's going on.
He's
but at the same
passionate.
time- yeah, absolutely. So you can't really fault him for that. You know, there's always something a driver can learn. You know, we all have something to learn, but I think it was fantastic.
Besides, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have all these awesome sound clips. And I think 50% of the Wil and Dave podcast is sound clips. So without that, we'd be nothing.
We
So
got
we're very
3
thankful.
comments on YouTube just by us playing that.
A living legend, smiley face, and Andreas Stratmann for the win.
Well, and the thing is, you know, this is racing. Racing requires, I've said this before, in modern racing today, you need to have a personality as well as the ability to drive a car. Because, you know, the sponsors are going to want to have to talk to you. You're going to have to talk to the interviews. Imagine if Straightman was in IndyCar, Formula 1, and any of those series. I would tune in every single week to hear what he had to say.
Yeah, just like Robin Miller says, you got to have people that hate each other, or you got to have characters to get ratings. And Andreas is definitely one of the best characters that iRacing has right now. And it makes it more fun. And he does make good points, but he has a very unique way of doing them, which a lot of us do find entertaining.
Absolutely. And he actually did reach out and get in contact with me about the video. He was such a good sport about it, and he actually wanted the original video, so I ended up emailing it to him.
Awesome.
We gotta get Andreas on the show sometime and do like a legitimate interview with him, and just like, where did he come from? How did he get on iRacing?
I think
Why
he
does
came
like
from
the
Germany.
IndyCar? Well, I mean, did he come from another sim, or running Gran Turismo or anything like that?
Well, you know, of course, I do, at the moment, Pro Series interviews. I'll just do a very special IndyCar, legendary. Wait for it, legend, wait for it! And I hope, Dave, that you're not lactose intolerant, because this is dairy interview.
I am not lactose intolerant, so we're good.
Right, number 4 on our list. We've got 2 left. I can't remember what one of them is, and I want to do that one before I do the final one.
V8 Supercars is an actual series that you can watch and has good racing.
Yes. Now, of course, you actually had the V8s in America this year at COTA. And, I mean, Bathurst this year, phenomenal. In fact, the entire series this year has been phenomenal. It's like NASCAR racing with turning right all the time, with drivers who are passionate all the time, with not big disparities between all the teams, and again, you've got a load of characters.
Better you play Mario Kart.
I'm sorry, I laugh every time I hear his quotes. Since, in America we tend to focus on just American racing a lot, and I hadn't really watched V8 Supercars until the former Speed Channel showed the Bathurst 1000. And, I've really been entertained by watching V8 Supercars. I wish that some channel in the United States would pick the races up and show them, because it's hard for me to find them. They're 14 hours ahead, so they're like on in the middle of the night when they're going live. But it is a great series, and I do enjoy watching it when I can. And a fun car to race on iRacing, even though it is a big, big, big bitch.
Oh, God, it's scary as... In my opinion, that car
It's
is actually
just as
harder.
scary as a Lotus 49.
I was actually going to say it's actually harder to drive than 49, because you can mollycoddle the 49 about. There's no way you can mollycoddle a V8 about it. It's like, give me power! Give me more power! You're not giving me enough power, I'm spinning you around.
Yeah.
Oh, yes!
Yeah, baby.
And, of course, number one on our list is the DW12. Now, I'm putting this number one partially biased because I'm an IndyCar fan, but for two other reasons. A, the first part of the season, phenomenal, the amount of different winners that we had. The second part of the season, what a great fight between Elio, Dixie, and the couple of other guys who had a shot for the championship. But more importantly than anything, that car saved Dario Franchitti's life. Period. End of story.
And not only did it save Dario's life, but in other instances, if it was another car, it may have entered the crowd, and I think it's probably saved a lot of fans from injury or worse.
Yeah, and I always get a little bit emotional when I think about the entire process here, but had that car not have been developed by Dan Weldon, had Dan Weldon's incident not have happened, then we could be looking at, you know, a slightly weirder version of the IRL 05/09/03/whatever. And one thing that I'm really grateful to both Delara and IndyCar and the drivers are being cooperative about is the fact that they said, actually, we need to rethink the way that we race. And they've done that the last couple of years. Last year was a little bit weird because, you know, new car transitions. Of course, the top teams always kind of rise to the top quickly. Andretti found out how that car works fastest, best, quickest. But this year we had what? Andretti. We had Penske, we had Ganassi, we had this KV Racings of the world. We had, for fuck's sake, we had a Frenchman win a race.
We had J.R. Hildebrand run over somebody.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, well, we saw where that got him out in the employment line. I hate it for the guy because, I mean, I don't even know where to start. We all know the story with J.R. Hildebrand.
You just say potential, period.
Yeah, wasted potential.
Yeah. Could have been, and who really knows what was going on? It could have been just like a mental block, just tough season, you know. What happened to him at Indianapolis? Just a tough year for that guy.
Yeah, but back on track with the DW12 safety. Yeah, well, it's just things unfortunately work out in ways that make things better for others. And this is one of those instances where the car definitely saved Dario. Yeah, he can't race anymore, but he's still with us. And, you know, he's, as long as he doesn't, you know, ever get another concussion again, he's really not going to suffer that much for it. If they were racing any other model of IndyCar, I don't think the results would have been the same.
Oh, God, no. And you're completely right as well. And as soon as I think about the fans, I'm thinking back to places like Charlotte 99, for example. A very similar impact, but everything, yes, the catch fencing looked as though it didn't do its job, but actually, when you think about it, the catch fencing did do its job, because the most you can absorb an impact is by actually moving. And I think, yes, there were injuries, and yes, that track needs to be re-looked at, but overall, I am incredibly thankful for everything that the DW12 did. Of course, the DW12, you know, when that first came out, how many people said that car was ugly? How many people said that car was the most pathetic thing they've ever seen in their lives? Then compare
I probably was against the grain on that. I would have to say I'm against the grain on that. I thought the DW12 from day one was one of the best looking cars out there.
Okay. You like the
I'm an
DW12.
anomaly. I'm an anomaly. I'll take it. But
No,
I've always loved Indy cars and the way they looked, and I thought that was a great progression.
I think the car has areas where it could be improved aesthetically. I think it's been shown that the rear wheel guards don't do anything. I think you could eliminate those and the car would look a lot better already.
I disagree with you. I think that the car, the rear wheel guards do something. What it does, it doesn't rip off front wings. And it doesn't tread tires. Yes, it does still cause incidences, but I think that it helps, and it's helped in a number of occasions already this season. And I'm actually going to agree and disagree with you on that point. I think the DW12, it's different, and IndyCars have always been different. And I used to love the fact that you had the Formula 1 cars, which looked like, you know, that 22-year-old guy who spends half an hour, half a day getting ready, you know, making sure that his jeans and his blazer and his t-shirt all match up. Then you had the Indy cars, chucks on a pair of clothes and just goes out partying. And the brute force of those Indy cars was amazing. But you compare the DW12, Dave, to the 2014 F1 regulations, and we've seen a couple of photos come out of what the cars might look like. They're fucking ugly. They're as ugly as... they're uglier than I am.
Now, I'm going to just stick to the facts. I'm going to just stick to the facts. The front nose of the car is just going to be hideous looking. It's like slowly going down, slowly sloping down. Then bam, there it goes. It hangs down to the front and it's over. It's like somebody chopped the front of the car off. I don't know. I guess it'll take some time to get used to, but this is one of those cases where just taking full advantage of the regulations, and it's a hideous looking thing, and combined with the IndyCar sounding engine, I think that's going to turn a lot of people off next year.
And also you've got, I mean, I like the turbo engines in principle. However, the turbos, if you look at it in their standard configuration, they look less appealing than the IndyCar fucking turbos. And yes, of course, they're going to be tuned more because IndyCar has a development freeze and the F1 engines doesn't as such have a development freeze. So on and so forth and blah, blah, blah. And there's more area. Yes, the F1 cars are still going to go faster than an IndyCar. But F1, the cost saving and all that stuff, they try doing things every year to save costs. And they exacerbate costs because they're having to rethink completely the way they do cars every time.
Yeah, I wish they had made the car look better for next year, but I guess time will tell. I'm not a smart enough guy to be able to give you an answer, but we can talk about it like bozos like we are right now.
We've just been asked, are we racing cars or are we fucking them? One thing that you guys don't realize is that I actually only masturbate to cars. That's it. Yeah. Although I did I show you that story, Dave, about the guy and his strange fantasy?
Not specifically.
Okay.
I don't want to know where this is going.
Yeah, it's probably even too X-rated for this show. Shall we move on?
Yes,
and we're going to
should.
move on from one thing to another. Last Sunday, at the end of the Wil and Dave 16th Street Racing League Richmond 160, a guy who works for IMS Productions couldn't even plug in a fucking microphone. And by the way, before I go any further, I love this guy to bits. He showed me around the production tracks for NBC Sports. You know, he's an amazing guy. But he can't plug in a fucking microphone, and he's a producer for IMS Productions.
You're so fucking unbearable, you goddamn fool-ass motherfucker.
Well, you know, Will, maybe this is an instance of where somebody normally does that for him because he's got a bigger, you know, more responsibilities to take care of, and just one of those overlooked things where his microphone didn't work.
Good lie! Fuck it!
So is he like the proverbial PhD student who, you know, knows all about his certain thing?
Moved.
And didn't actually... I was actually going to talk to him, Dave. I was going to actually allow him to have the Brandon Trace 15 seconds of fame. Or 15 seconds of Wil and Dave fame, anyway. But is it like the proverbial PhD student where, you know, they know everything about their subject, but the simple things they might not know about?
Yeah, maybe it's a case of book smarts versus street smarts. That's how I always kind of look at it. Hey, you know what though? It could have just been a fluke thing, and it happened at a big moment where he was getting ready for an interview and he had a mic failure. So, you know what? Next time he finishes in the top 3 to do an interview with him again, if the mic fails, it's him. If it doesn't, it was just an anomaly.
Better you play Mario Kart.
Yeah, because if you play Mario Kart, you don't have to worry about interviews because you're just racing yourself or the little ghost.
Oh,
Try to beat your
God,
own
do you
time.
remember those ghosts?
Yeah, those
So
are bitch.
evil.
It's like I didn't run that fast. Oh wait, you talking about the ghost in the castle, or when you would like have the ghost of your fastest
The
time
actual,
and you try
the
to beat
actual
it?
ghost in the castle.
Oh, those ghosts were a bunch of MFers.
Yeah, fucking AI. I hate AI. By the way, I was actually going to allow Mike to, as I say, have the 15 seconds. So can you be nice, please? I know you don't do being nice, but can you please be nice?
I'll be nice.
I'll talk to anyone. I will.
Well,
You know,
if he can be
sweaty and
nice,
wanna
I guess
take
we can
your
give him
shirt
the.
off. That'd be just fine.
You know, Herbert the pervert talks so quietly. I didn't realize that he was making a comment there until halfway through. But I guess if Mr. Perry wants to be nice about it, we can give him his 15 seconds. But what's the worst that's going to happen? He's going to get the JP treatment, get booted in mid-sentence.
No. We only allow one person to get booted mid-sentence, because it's a special privilege and honor that they get.
Hey, I just want to give a shout out to some of the iRacers.
By the way,
hello.
We noticed something the other day, Dave, and it's something that seems to be becoming a recurring theme amongst iRacing broadcasters. That we go on air, and 10 minutes before we go on air, I just need to go and cook myself some food. Yeah. What the fuck?
Well, you're one of them. Why don't you explain it to us? Why do you do such a stupid thing?
Well, I don't, because I'm normally a commentator. And to be fair, if I'm eating when I start commentating, we're like, so welcome to the... I
the
sound
George
like a horse.
Show.
Yeah, I sound like a horse eating that. It's like, what are you doing? Give me a fucking carrot? But, I mean, the guys from iRacing Brazil do it. The guys from GlacierTV do it. I've heard the guys from ETV probably allegedly do it. I'm not sure what PSR TV does, because I've only worked on them a couple of times.
Well, it sounds like he's always eating anyway.
Yeah. So, what's the deal? Is it because of the fact that, our commentary's so boring, or the race is so boring, that they just need to have something to get themselves through, or what?
But it sounds like they're eating before the broadcast starts, so maybe they're just really focused on making sure everything works, and they're like, oh crap, I gotta eat.
I like that. You answered that really objectively.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Well, aren't we supposed to be objective here on the Wil and Dave Podcast?
Yeah, when's the last time that happened?
I think just right now.
Oops. So, don't forget, Twitter, use the hashtag Wil, letter N, Dave. Follow us at Wil and Dave Show. On Facebook, facebook.com/Wil, letter N, Dave. We're also available on iTunes by searching for the Wil and Dave Show. There we are. I've actually done that off my own back. That's about the first time I've ever done that. Now, we were going to go into some more kind of dark, humorous things. And we found... I found this on Facebook. And for those of you who have wives or girlfriend who don't have hairy legs, and you're probably aware that there's two methods of removing hair from your legs or other parts of your body. The first
my tongue.
The first one is using a razor. The second one is using cream. And Dave, we stumbled upon this page for Veet for Men hair removal gel.
Ooh.
Fucking hilarious.
I had to question why you were looking in the first place at hair removal for men.
I was actually going to remove all my dreadlocks, and that's it.
Because you haven't washed them in so long they're too tangled?
Oh, fuck you. I washed my hair 7 months ago, thank you very much.
Well, when you're an indie and you lay down on the bed, there was a freaking enough oil to change my motor oil in my Honda Civic left behind.
Giggity. But Veet for hair removal gel, cream 200 milliliters, which I don't know how that translates into ounces for you Yanks. But the comments on this have been hilarious. I might actually try and read out one or two of these in a moment, but they were amazing, Dave.
I hope it's not too sexually explicit.
Yeah, get real hot real fast, Dave.
Yeah, that's going to be true. I hope it's not too sexually explicit for iTunes.
The Jones.
Okay, I'll have a go at one. This is by Lee, and the title is Sweet Baby Jesus, Deliver Me from This Torment. Possessing as I do a genital cluster that bears an uncanny resemblance and indeed aroma to Chewbacca's armpit, I decided to purchase this product. Upon applying the cream to my tassel and conkers, I was taken aback by a sudden and disturbing gasping noise, followed by a sound that I can only describe as horrific howlings from Satan's own hellhound, Cerebus. As I whirled around to view the source of the noise, I perchance a glance in the bathroom mirror and, seeing my own mouth stretch agape in a terrible rictus of agony, I deduced the sound was coming from me.
Wow.
I have no words.
So, as you know, Dave, next week we're going to be on Thursday, not Friday, because next Friday I'm raising money for a homeless charity by sleeping rougher a night. which made you laugh. But as you know,
Yeah, because I thought you looked like a bum already.
well, we all know that. But so I'm doing that next Friday. I was thinking another way to raise money for the show next Thursday. I'm going to buy a tube of this product, and I'm going to try it out.
Why are you going to torture yourself?
Try it
What's
out.
the worst that could happen?
You're going
Lose your nutsack.
I'm gonna get you.
So
You'd be inside him.
Yes, I'm gonna be inside you.
So
You're
next
gonna put
week,
a
I'm going to buy
frozen Brussels
myself.
sprout up there.
Of course, I'm not going to show you any photos of this because that would be classified as pornography. But I'm going to purchase a tub of Veep for Men hair removal gel cream, 200 milliliters, from a local pharmacy, and I probably will record the audio, shall we say, and see what happens. So that's going to be my challenge for the week. Of course, we also have the Wil and Dave challenge, which Starmaster Talladega. Simple as that.
Yep, low humidity, low temperatures. We'll get that draft up and running real quick, and we'll go 3 wide on the apron.
Yeah. Well, we did the Skip Barbers, was it? No, it was the Mazda MX-5s we did at Talladega.
Roadster.
Yeah.
Don't forget it was the Roadster at Concord.
Yes, last week. And that was a bit of a fail race, let's be honest.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well. But that's
So
what
we were
happens
doing
when you
Star
do
Mazda at Talladega earlier this week.
Well, the issue with the Concord race
Yeah, no
is
one
because
called me for that one.
People had to lift, and in a draft you might have to brake, and people don't like lifting.
I don't like it.
What, you mean I can't use my sim brick at
This
Concord?
podcast is brought to you by Simbrick. Go to www.simbrick.com.
I bet you we could make and sell sim bricks. People would. I know one guy that would buy them.
Really? Are you thinking about the same guy I'm thinking of?
I know who would buy it.
Better you play Mario Kart.
Just to let you know that you shouldn't be listening to the podcast, but you can buy a Simbrick.
Right.
TM.
Okay. Also, we were going to have a look through some of the complaints to iRacing on the iRacing complaints forum. Now, I know Randy's basically with his croissant, it's coffee, aujourd'hui every morning. He reads a complaints forum. Dave, you haven't really read them before, but you have.
Yeah, I have a huge intolerance for idiocy. That's probably why I can't handle the forums that well anyway.
Right. I'll read you a couple of them.
All right.
I'm not going to mention any names. I'm going to be objective about this.
The names have changed to protect the innocent.
Well, who's innocent here? You know.
Continue.
The first one is about the bumps at Homestead being too big. I have done many races at Homestead on iRacing, and the bumps are unrealistically big. If you hit one off turn 2 in the Gen 6, the car bounces like crazy and leaves you with no choice but to hit the wall. And the same applies to IndyCar. There are a few other bumps too, but that one especially just ruins your race for no reason.
Well, you know I know everything.
Before I go any further, I've run many a race at Homestead. That bump out of turn 2 is fine if you actually know how to drive. Secondly, I'm sure if a car bounces, you have more options than hitting a wall. It's not as if, you know, a message comes up on your screen, you have hit a bump, please turn right now.
The bumps are supposedly too big, but it's a laser scan track, so any bump or crag or anything in the track is within a millimeter of accuracy. Maybe your setup is just too low, and you're smacking a small bump, and it's exaggerating it, and you're crashing yourself into the wall because you can't handle it.
True. There's one about iRacing being too expensive. We get them every single day. There's no point going into that. There is one about changing the weekly weather. What's the point? Okay, it's been a few weeks now. So what's the point with the weather? Has anyone had a race that was decided due to the weather? All I see is making it more annoying and time-consuming to make a setup. It's not made the fast guys slower, or the slower guys faster. There's no advantage in making a proper weather call, and hence a setup change prior to race time. I see no point other than to annoy us. I know that's not iRacing's intentions, but honestly, I don't see it as anything else. Does anyone feel the same? Feel differently? I'd love to hear some reactions from around the service. First of all, if you're posting the complaints for them, then you're not going to get any logical reaction. Secondly,
if you get sweaty and want to take your shirt off, that'd be just fine.
Secondly, the last time I checked, the weather for the entire world wasn't set at, 72 degrees Fahrenheit with a northwesterly wind of 2 miles an hour and 0
I can't take this anymore. Isn't the point of fucking racing is to do the best you can, be as fast as you can with the conditions you're given. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. If you don't like the weather, don't race. Go in the fixed series. People just drive me insane. These people just bitch about nothing. You know what's going to happen.
As well, the setups aren't perfectly tuned to the weather.
Nope.
I think we've understood that. But it gives you the challenge of driving a car. And I'm sorry, kids, but you might realize this. This is a little bit like real life. Weather changes. Fucking deal with it.
Well, I want to race my car I want to run the car the same every week and not have to change everything because I'm a lazy fuck.
No.
And I'll tell you what, he makes a point in that. The fast guy's not going slow and the slower guy's not getting faster. I disagree.
Maybe the faster guys are fast because they're good.
Or they are the people who actually want to put the attention into doing the entire thing. Rather than just turning up, doing 0 laps of practice and racing and thinking it's going to be the same every week. They're the guys that might do a little bit of testing, might, tweak a couple of things. And the setups aren't that different with the weather. You're changing, 2, maybe 3 variables, depending on what the change to the weather is. So, in those situations, it's not that fucking different. Deal with it!
Exactly. If you don't like it, GTFO. That's why I don't read the complete complaint form, Will, because I'm already enraged.
I'll tell you what, Justin Pet Shower, what do you think about the weather? Do you think that, we should have dynamic weather, change the weather every week, or should we just have the same weather for every single week, every single race, for eternity?
Dynamic.
Dynamic? How dynamic?
Oh, he's keeping his answers short.
Throughout the entire race, or do you want it to be in such a situation that it's dynamic from race to race, but the weather, then once you're in the race, remains static?
What you just said, right?
That's a nice muscly throwing on you got there.
He had to know that was coming. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He was smart. He knew that it was coming. He played very, his cards close to the vest with the first answer.
He's like the Jacksonville Jaguars that get into field goal range and try and do a Hail Mary on their first drive of the game.
And guess what? We're within the last 10 minutes of the show, and we're coming off the tracks again.
Yep. Another one.
Andrew King still doesn't have a train crashing sound.
Sorry.
Another one. Is weaving under caution legal? It seems in every IndyCar Oval race, someone starts weaving aggressively, apparently to heat the tyres under caution. Immediately it seems someone else will get on voice chat and threaten to protest them for tyre heating. I personally do not use this technique after testing extensively in test sessions. I could not find any benefit. Now, this guy actually has a bit of a legitimate point, because it fucks me off when people weave.
Yes.
It's like they're bisexual and trying to decide whether they want to be straight today or be gay.
Hello.
Because everybody knows that tire weaving doesn't do anything in iRacing. The game, it's programmed to not do anything, to discourage people driving around like idiots under caution, so they're not slamming into each other, warming their tires up. So why do it? Just drive around in a straight line, follow the pace car, and then when the green comes out, you line up where you're supposed to go, and then you go race again.
I do it when I get bored.
When you get bored, aren't you always bored, which is why you're with us?
No. What was that race that they did a couple weeks ago where you could win
Stop it! Time is up! That's 58 minutes. Right.
Well, no, we could. This will be overtime now.
Yeah, I was about to say, but that means I've got to do the intro twice, so you've got to bear with me.
Well, play us out for the 58.
I don't know what that means, to play us out. What does that mean?
Well, you'll learn. If you just shut up for 1 moment, Andrew, you'll learn how to play some out. This is the regular portion of the Wil and Dave show done. We're only allowed to do 58 minutes for a show to get ourselves onto the ETV Motorsports Radio Network, because I need 2 minutes of commercials. We'll be back next Thursday, not next Friday, next Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, because I'm otherwise engaged, lying in the middle of nowhere, cold, freezing my tits off, raising money for charity next Friday. So we'll be here. We will try and get ourselves James Swinbanks. We'll try and make sure that Andrew's about. Josh Kin will be about next Thursday as well. We might even try and get Paul Jenkins once in a while. Don't forget, Twitter, @Wil and Dave Show, Facebook.com/Wil and Dave. Let us know all of your thoughts, all your comments on the YouTube page as well. And Dave, I will see you next Thursday, 4 p.m.
Of all my podcasts, this one was the most recent.
That's bullshit, because we're about to go to overtime, and therefore, it no longer is the most recent, because I'm going to do this. I feel like I'm repeating myself now. Welcome to Wil and Dave Overtime! We really are like Black Friday, you know? Get more value for your money. Wil and Dave Show, Fridays, 4 p.m. Eastern on GlacierTV.
Well, the only thing is, we're in overtime, but our post-it note is completed, so what are we going to do now?
It's not fully completed, but I don't know how to tackle one of the topics on there.
They drive the keys on the car.
It's the one that's at the very top.
I know which one it is.
Yeah, and
it
I'm
has
thinking,
to do with Craigslist.
How?
You know what? We need to treat it as a public service announcement. Kids, if you're going to play around on the internet looking for things that maybe you shouldn't be looking for, don't hook up with random people on the internet.
I like how we're doing this with the porn music playing in the background.
Yeah, baby.
I don't think that quite works. So I'm going to wait 8 seconds, the music will stop, then we'll do ourselves a Wil and Dave public service announcement. Are you ready for this,
The Wil and Dave Show public service announcement.
This is a public service announcement from the Wil and Dave Show. If you have sexual desires and you want to take these out, then whatever you do, don't head over to things like Craigslist and visit the casual section. Because
you're going to get real hot real fast, Dave.
Because chances are you'll end up trying to send photos to someone who you think is a girl, and it turns out to be a 50-year-old pedophile man.
Dude looks like a lady.
Donna, dude looks like a lady. So, well, we have still got a couple of things to talk about. Of course, we've got to set ourselves up the Wil and Dave Challenge, which is at Talladega in the Star Masters, just for the sheer fuck of it, because it's gonna be fun.
Are you setting this up?
Yeah, I'll set it up. Well, you haven't got any credits, have you?
I do have credits.
Have you?
I do. I have like 100 credits.
Oh, okay. Well, you can set it up then.
All right.
You need to set it at maximum humidity, maximum temperature, because if you do it lowest, then the car's going to blip out all the time. So if you set it at maximum, you get a better draft.
Ah, very good point. What car are we using? Skippy?
Star Mazda.
Oh, Star Mazda.
I'll share a setup to anyone who bothers to enter the session.
Star Mazda. 50% fuel, 20%. What should we do?
20% make the race 40 laps long. Why not? We're
2 hour, 40 laps.
Yeah.
Cautions?
Yeah, single file restarts.
Practice time. 30 minutes, 10 minutes, open qualifying.
Yeah,
unlimited,
that sounds about right.
Unlimited repairs, cautions on,
I'm
single
gonna need them, aren't I?
Yeah. Let's see. Optional settings. You have to. Should we limit the iRating?
No.
Okay.
I mean, if we limit the iRacing, how the hell is Sam Aladdin going to be able to race with us? I tell you what, Mike Perry makes a very good point. It's because we're bored under caution after caution after caution. Therefore, if people stop causing cautions, people will stop weaving under caution because there'll be no caution to weave under.
Max temperature, max humidity, no wind.
Yeah.
No wind. All right.
No. 3 mile an hour wind to the south. To the south!
To the south. 3 mile an hour wind to the south. Dirty South Racing.
This race is not brought to you by DirtySouthRacing.com. Anthony Burns would love to see a live studio style of Wil and Dave Google Hangout. Now, that's going to be
that could be interesting.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's going to be a little bit difficult because the way the lights are in my room, I'm in the corner of my room, and I don't have much light where I am, and also I don't have a backdrop, so you basically see...
You're in a dark corner.
Tip of a huge Jägermeister flag I have.
Are you like the third circle of hell?
Yeah, I am. Literally in the third circle of a house. It's called Birmingham, United Kingdom.
All right, to review. Talladega.
Yes. You know
Mazda.
what you're doing. Okay, shut up. Tell me my story. So...
Fine, fuck you.
So my camera quality will be kind of shit. And of course, I'm streaming as well, so therefore you'll only see about 4 frames a year. What about you?
Say again?
What would your camera display?
I don't have a webcam or anything in my office, so I'd have to get one.
Oh.
Why would I buy one for my iRacing computer? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's not something I ever thought to get.
Guys, breaking news. If you're still recovering from your Thanksgiving meal, how about catching up on a question and answer session with Elio Castroneves? How about
Boo.
that? By the way, the Wil and Dave show hates Elio Castroneves. Whatever. Move on. Deal with it.
Elliot also confirmed that Mark Webber will be running in the 2014 24 Hours of Le Mans.
That took him a while to fucking find that one out, didn't
Well,
it?
no. He found it out a while ago. We just weren't able to work it in.
Well, you're a little bit useless, aren't you?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Well, you asked me all these questions I'm supposed to answer.
You're
I
supposed
can't
to be social media, bitch.
I am social media. But he's
Bitch.
on the YouTube. There's so many YouTube comments about Andreas, it got lost in the shuffle.
Okay. Just
Yeah,
shows...
you got people bitching about getting booted off the TeamSpeak and all this
That's
stuff.
your
it's hard
fault.
It's hard to sort through all the crap.
Dave, can you apologize?
For what?
Booting people off our TeamSpeak.
No.
Okay.
And there you go.
Yeah. We had actually something else. You telling me a story earlier, and I was talking about Brazil, and the way it seems right now, and I'll give you a bit of background to this. We sometimes have issues with this TeamSpeak server. We sometimes have issues with the backup TeamSpeak server that we had. So we decided today that we'll have a backup TeamSpeak in case all went to pot, which is the one that we use when we commentate on the 16th Street Racing League, which is owned by iRacing Brazil. And the purpose of that is mainly because of the fact that, unlike all of their stadiums for the World Cup, they can actually maintain a TeamSpeak server.
Yeah, people aren't urinating all over their TeamSpeak server and destroying it with all the ammonia.
Now, you see, when I was joking about that, I was actually joking about the fact that, they crashed the crane into one of their stadiums. They can't seem to build the stadiums in time. Things fall off the stadiums. But there's that other issue that you're telling me about basically people deciding to piss everywhere.
Yeah, as the story goes, Brazilians don't want to miss a second of their precious football, so they pee wherever they can, and all that urinating on steel girders and concrete is causing serious erosion to their soccer stadiums to the point where they have a potential for collapse.
Right, I am going to pause you for just one moment. Mr. Mike Perry, you are granted your 15 seconds of talking about whatever the hell you would like to do on the Wil and Dave podcast. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Why the fuck is Jonathan Goat sending me messages on Facebook? What the fuck? Done.
But
wow, he used his 15 seconds quickly.
I was about to say, that's quicker than I last. That's quicker than I last in bed. I only last 8.6 seconds. Jeez.
Got nothing more to say. Why the fuck is he messaging me?
I have no idea. Goke, if you're listening, can you please explain to Mike Perry why you're messaging Mike Perry? But of course, in order to do that, you're going to have to message Mike Perry. So, Mike, are you going to complain if he messages you to explain why he's messaging you?
I've got it on lockdown now. You can't message me anymore. It was just fucking weird. I woke up this morning and checked my Facebook, and he had a message saying that I was being a douche on the forums. I'm like, oh, I thought you were suspended. How can you see the forums? So, yeah.
Well, there you are. By the way, have you ever been to a Brazilian stadium and seen people piss everywhere?
No, I haven't. But I've been to a Mexican stadium.
Do they piss everywhere there as well?
At the one I went to, yes.
Was it weird in any way, shape, or form? I mean, can I just ask you the question? Are the bathrooms, I don't know, about 50 paces away from where you sat?
No, but it's no different than when I leave a bar at night and I'm walking to my car. If I got to take a piss, I'm going to take a piss wherever I want to.
Now, that is a good point, Dave, because let's be honest, I've done that before. At the end of the day.
Yeah, we all have, but if 50,000 soccer fans all pee on the same girder, it's going to erode quite quickly and then collapse the stadium on top of you while you're whipping it out and peeing.
So, do you think this might actually be the origins of the Mexican wave? The fact that it's just, the ceremonial unzipping of their fly and urinating in tandem.
I don't know what to say to that.
Well, there we are. Is the session up yet, by the way?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Me and Randy Crossnow have joined.
Wow. So...
I think the show's come unglued. I think we need to end it here.
Unglued? Well, that's a bit like a Brazilian stadium, isn't it?
Oh my God!
No, that would be unzipped.
Unzipped, but then it becomes unglued because it's the ammonia. Come on, deal with it. The unzipping part then leads to the ungluing part.
Yes, this is true.
You're useless, Dave. But so what I have to say, we've kind of done things a little bit better this week because we actually prepared.
Yes. And, much to your chagrin, I wrote things down on a Post-it note with a pencil, which you scolded me for saying it was stupid, but yet it saved episode number 5 of the Wil and Dave show.
Yeah, true. And also, let's not forget, normally...
So how useless am I?
Well, still useless. I'm not going to lie to you. The thing is, though, is that I normally write stuff down on a notepad on my computer, but then what do I do an hour before every broadcast?
You reboot your whole system and erase everything because you're stupid.
Yeah, what's one thing I do? I forget to save the fucking notepad. Who saves notepad files these days anyway?
Derp.
Who doesn't save anything? That's your fault for being stupid.
Well, you can't auto-save notepad files. It's not as if I'm on a Mac where everything just
So
saves
you hit
itself.
File Save. How hard is that?
Then I have to give it a file name. Then I have to put it into a folder.
Oh, you sound like these guys that complain about the iRacing weather.
I know. Then I have to go and load the setup, and then I have to go and mention the setup, and then I have to do the Then I actually have to go and I have to put the gas pedal down. I'm going to have to go and put the gas pedal down. Why can't iRacing have an auto throttle button?
Yeah, why can't I just think it and then it'll happen?
I've got a sim brick. You don't have one?
No, I don't.
You need to get one.
I just put my cat on the throttle.
I tell you what, I'm actually considering making a purchase in the next day or so. I won't say it yet until we go off air, because this could be our big thing for the next couple of weeks, Dave.
All right. Ooh, a teaser.
A teaser. Gotta love teasers.
Will's buying strippers doesn't count.
Oh. Wait. But I like strippers. By the way, if you're wondering where all the sound effects have gone, Andrew King's just disappeared into the ether, and I can't be bothered to hit any of the buttons. So next week, Dave, we're going to talk about anything interesting at all?
I don't think we figured that out yet.
Well, our big issue is that we
Star
kind of
Mazda Talladega.
We kind of started this a little bit late, haven't we? Because we started it at the very end of the racing season. There's not going to be much racing. We have missed the fact that Fatty Bum Bums actually did his test session at Sebring. He drove the car. He turned right and left. Shall we move on?
Yeah, we could talk about that.
Hey, here's a question. Everybody calls, that I'm grumpy all the time. Hey, let's get me a segment where it's called the Grumpy Perry segment, and I just pick something in iRacing and just freaking ramble on about it and, be grumpy about it.
Okay, you've got 1 minute starting from now.
I don't have one for right now. I'm being grumpy.
Oh, okay. Join us next week when Mike Perry has a minute to talk about... You see, we were going to do this to Brandon, but Brandon's been too scared to come on our TeamSpeak server. So Mike...
Wait, I got one. Why do you stand in line for a fucking $1,000 TV at Walmart?
We talked about Black Friday earlier, but we never talked about the mechanisms behind Black Friday. Why do people stand in line? And let's not forget, they don't stand in line. They normally end up fighting each other, stabbing each other, and kicking the hell out of each other in the process as well.
Well, that and also, announcing in a sim racing forums that I carry a gun when I go Black Friday shopping. Who gives a fucking shit?
It's one thing to carry a gun, another thing, in my opinion, to actually have the mental fortitude to pull the trigger. And let's be honest, I don't think anyone... If you're going to pull the trigger... Then why are you waiting in line to get the TV in the first place? Because you're not going to be able to take the TV with you to jail, are you? Dave, good point to end on?
Yep.
There we are. Now I've got to Alt-Tab I'm being like a bitch again. I've got an old tab. Now I've got to go back to the soundboard. Now I've got to play this. There we are. We had 15 minutes of Wil and Dave overtime. Don't forget, if you're on iRacing, first off, you get $49 renewals. Woohoo! Secondly, go over to the hosted forums and go and race Star Mazda at Talladega. If you don't have the Star Mazda, then you're missing out on a great car. If you don't have Talladega, what the fuck's wrong with you? And all that money that you just saved by renewing, you can spend on getting either one or both. There we are.
Yep.
Simple things.
And we'll give you a setup.
I will. I'll give you a setup from my own back pocket. We'll be back next Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time with episode 6 of the Wil and Dave Podcast. This will be condensed down to 58 minutes and will be on iTunes in the next 48 hours. So it'll be on ETV Motorsports Radio Network, 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday and on Thursday as well. Pretty much this is all I have time to say, Dave. Thank you very much. It's been a really nice time with you today.
Of all the overtimes I've done, this was the most recent.
Indeed. We'll see you all next week. Talk to you later. Bye.
Goodbye.
And now we go back to the bus.
To the bus.
And we go to the Talladega.
The end.